Hey there everyone, my name is Maddie Ellis, and today we are going to talk about controlling upsetting thoughts and taking a time out from stress and anger. In the book Incredible Years, we see this quote. I really like it. It talks about how upsetting thoughts are beneficial and then the dangers that can arise from them and how we can overcome them. So it says, all parents feel angry, depressed, frustrated, and guilty when dealing with their children's misbehaviors. Upsetting feelings are not only to be expected, but are essential and beneficial. They signal the need for change and problem solving and provide motivation. Dangers arise, however, when these feelings so overwhelm parents that they are immobilized by depression or lose control of their anger. The idea then is not to avoid these feelings or eliminate conflict, but to learn to cope with emotional responses to conflict in a manner that provides more self-control. Also in the book, it gives us these 3 steps for how we can learn to control our upsetting thoughts and how we can teach our children to. Step 1, be aware of your negative and positive thoughts. So these thoughts evidently have different patterns that lead up to these thoughts, and they're going to be really repetitive, they're going to be unproductive, they're not going to have a real purpose, and they generally directly cause negative emotions. So once we realize and identify these patterns as they occur, we can start to have a choice about how we react to them. And some of those patterns can be like regret, guilt, self-beating, criticism, etc. Step 2 and 3 kind of coincide together. First, we want to get rid of our negative thoughts, and once we do that, we can increase our positive thoughts. Also in the book, it talks about taking a time out for stress and anger. So what does taking a time out exactly mean? So a timeout leads to a relationship where children know they can safely go to their parents or teachers for help with solving their problems. Research has shown it is a critical factor in helping children gain emotion regulation capabilities and self-control and reduce adult physical abuse and traumatic child symptoms. So, taking a time out from stress and anger. This book puts emphasis both on teaching our children and how we can do it ourselves, but we are going to focus on teaching our children how to. So first, you see the signs, the patterns of you either becoming stressed or angry. First, take a deep breath. Calm your thoughts, collect your thoughts, try to put them in a sequence that will be easily understood with whoever you're going to be discussing your feelings with, which is the next step. And as parents, it's very important to validate our children's feelings. We want them to know that their feelings are okay, but the behaviors and the actions they are taking because of these feelings are not okay. So this is a really good video that explains pretty much what I said, but with much more simply and more well put than I can.
I'm here to help you manage your child's stress. So although we think that childhood is a time of carefree days and no stress, children actually can get stressed just as much as adults can, and sometimes for similar kinds of reasons. First thing is to recognize when your child is feeling stress, and they may show some signs of anxiety or stress by being maybe irritable or angry or short-tempered. They may actually just feel overwhelmed and stressed by what's going on in their life. Maybe they're procrastinating and you think they're just being lazy when actually they just don't know where to start. So one thing is to recognize that they might be stressed. And the next thing is to think about the cause of that stress. Is it that there's too much going on in their life? Is it that there's some particular topic or issue that's problematic? Some test at school, some peer social situation at school? Is there some stress in the home that actually your children are picking up on, and it's making them stressed as well? The first thing to do is talk to your child to figure out where the stress is coming from. And one way to do that might be to just have a general conversation and talk about what you observe. Like, I see that maybe you haven't been so happy lately, or it seems like you have a lot on your mind. So label what you observe and have them start to tell you and have a conversation about it. Don't assume that you know what's going on for your child. Then what you can do is actually talk about the real feelings that are associated with that stress. Not to say I'm stressed, but really to pinpoint. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling worried about my test. I'm feeling lonely. I'm feeling left out by my friends at school. I'm feeling worried that we're not going to have enough money since Dad lost his job. Whatever it is, try to find out the source of that stress by going to the source, which is your child. Once you've listened to your child, you can then start.
Alrighty, so we're going to stop right there. I just really thought that this was a good representation of what I wanted to say, but she could put it into a lot better words than I could. Alrighty. For the next slide, we are going to talk about anger. So anger can lead to impulsive actions that can have extremely negative effects on our relationships. Learning to keep our anger under control and manage it more effectively is important for our emotional well-being. So, controlling your anger. I think it's really important as parents that we need to think about what our children are going through. We were once them. We know how they react to situations. So I listed here these 3 different scenarios. I'm going to read them one by one, then pause and give you time to think about it. And I just want you to think, what would you do if you were in their shoes? And we would probably have similar reactions that they would. So 1, you and your best friend have an argument. Your friend starts spending a lot of time with someone you don't like. One day, your friend's new buddy tells you he's a better friend than you could ever be. What would you do? 2, a teacher accuses you of cheating after you ace a test. When you try to defend yourself, the teacher says there's no way that you could have gotten all of that right, the right answers on your own. What would you do? 3, you're excited about a friend's upcoming birthday party, but then she says you aren't invited. Her parents said she can only invite 4 people and you aren't one of them. What would you do? In thinking of these 3 different scenarios, I'm sure you would be feeling a lot of different emotions, but I imagine anger would be one of them. So if we are quick to anger when these different situations arise, our children are most likely going to react the same way. One thing about anger and other emotions is that they basically run things. And I'm sure a lot of you have seen, or at least heard, of the movie Inside Out. The movie about the 5 different emotions: anger, disgust, fear, joy, and sadness. So in this first clip I have, this shows how we let our emotions run things.
Riley's acting so weird. Why is he acting so weird?
What do you expect? All the islands are down.
Joy would know what to do.
That's it. Until she gets back, we just do what Joy would do.
Good idea. Anger, fear, disgust. How are we supposed to be happy? Hey, Riley, I got good news. I found a junior hockey league right here in San Francisco, and get this, tryouts on tomorrow after school. What luck, right? What do we do?
Guys, you pretend to be Joy.
Great to be back out on the ice. Oh yeah, that sounds fantastic.
What was that? That wasn't anything like Joy.
Because I'm not Joy?
Yeah, no kidding.
Did you guys pick up on that?
Sure.
Something's wrong.
Should we ask her?
Let's probe. So, she doesn't notice. So, how was the first day of school?
He's probing us.
I'm done. You pretend. Joy.
What?
It was fine, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, very smooth. That was just like Joy.
Something is definitely going on.
She's never acted like this before.
What should we do? We're going to find out what's happening. But we'll need support.
Signal the husband.
Ahem.
She's looking at us. What did she say? What? Oh, sorry, sir. No one was listening. Garbage site. We left the toilet seat up. What? What is it, woman? What?
He's making that stupid face again.
I could strangle him right now.
Signal him again.
Ah, so, Riley, how was school?
For this, we gave up that Brazilian helicopter pilot?
Who? I'll beat you.
School was great. All right.
Riley, is everything okay?
Sir, she just rolled her eyes at us. What is her deal? All right, make show force. I don't want to have to put the foot down. No. What the fuck? Riley, I do not like this new attitude. Oh, I'll show you attitude. No. Stay at it.
What is your problem? Just leave me alone.
Sir, reporting high levels of sass. Take it to DEFCON 2. You're in that, gentlemen. DEFCON 2. Listen, young lady, I don't know where this disrespectful attitude came from. You want a piece of this pop?
Yeah? Well,
Here it comes. Prepare the foot. Keys to safety position. Ready to launch on your command, sir. That's it. Go to your room. Now. Foot is down. The foot is down. Good job, gentlemen.
Alrighty. So I really love that example. I love that movie in general. But I think it's a good example of how we as human beings tend to let our emotions determine our actions. And another main point I wanted to talk about is that anger can lead to impulsiveness. And here is just one more video from Inside Out as well.
that was our way home. We lost another island. What is happening? Haven't you heard? Riley's running away. What?
Wait. Hang on, guys. Are we really doing this? This is serious.
Look, we have no core memories. You want Riley to be happy? Let's get back to Minnesota and make money.
Joy, if we hurry, we can still stop her. Family Island, let's go. Joy, it's too dangerous. We won't make it in time.
See you after school, monkey.
Love you. You're hurting Riley.
No, I did it again.